integrated education, that is extended internship for students, which some of the universities are already doing that. And then he also mentioned that we should have a change of government policies about our own curriculum. At the end of the day, we also learned a lot from him. We had some few discussions on what he presented. Our third speaker yesterday was Madam Matilda Adjoa from PA. She was coming from an industry. In fact, she works with the toll, Tama Oil Refinery to be precise. She also spoke to us about employable skills that industry needs from our skilled students or from our students, so that we can be able to bridge the gap between industry and our graduates. She also spoke about the perception of employees and employer, expectations of industry players, less field work if affect our graduates. So she also emphasized on what Professor Jima was talking about, that we need to actually let our students have some kind of exposure in the industry. And then she spoke about the critical thinking and innovative skills at the workplace. At the end of the day, we also had a lot of good speak from her. We learned a lot from her speech, and then I believe that we are going to take them into a very good use. Our first speaker was Madam Abigail Welbeck from Ashesi University. She was talking about institutionalization of career services and mentorship model as part of our curriculum. She also had a very good time with us. And then the final speaker for yesterday was Franklin Owusu from NEIP. So in the nutshell, this is what we went through yesterday with our 5 speakers. And I think members who were on board learned a lot. Today we are going to continue the program, and we have a very distinct speakers online. We are going to have about 6 speakers. The first one is going to be Professor Amponsa Tewia, who is the HOD for Organizational and Human Resource Management in UG, that is University of Ghana. We are also going to have Professor Angela Owusu Ansa, who is the Provost for Ashesi University. We are also going to have Dr. Yvonne Lamte, a Senior Lecturer, Department of Human Resources. Recording in progress. And then we are also going to have Dr. Violet Makuku, Quality Assurance Specialist, Project Managers, AAU. The 5th person we are going to have him today, or her today, is Dr. Irene Brew Riverson, also a Senior Lecturer at University of Westminster, UK, London. And then the last person, but not the least, is going to be Mr. Franklin Owusu, the same person who spoke to us yesterday, coming from NEIP. Members, as a way of starting our introduction, these are the speakers we are going to have for today. I pray that we are all going to stay by, listen, bring our contributions, our views for the betterment of our graduates. Thank you very much for joining the program. And I hope that by the end of the day, we are going to benefit immensely from it. Thank you. So like I said, we are starting the program with Professor Amponsa Tewia. Prof, are you online? Hello, Prof.
Oh, yes, please, I'm here.
Professor Amponsa Tewia, are you online?
I'm here, please.
Good, you are welcome, Prof.
Thank you very much.
Good, so Prof, the floor is open for you. Can we hear you? Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. Let me take the opportunity also to indeed commend the university for putting together this important program that seeks to look at bridging the gap between academia and industry. Well, the topic given me, very interesting, very an insightful one, and I will try as much as possible to discuss the topic in a manner that will provoke thought and will provoke some discussions as we move along. I must take the opportunity also to indeed salute the assemblage of experts here on this platform. You reckon that, well, yes, very distinguished personalities have been assembled here this day to be discussing this subject matter. In discussing this subject matter, I'll be looking at, first and foremost, distinguishing between what knowledge is, what skills, and what ability. It is very important, but many a times, people in academia have been accused of not being able to produce graduates with employable skills. But then we need to understand, because it is said that where the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. When you don't get your definition of construct very right, then you will indeed abuse it. It is very important we understand what knowledge is, what skills, and what ability. And having understood what knowledge, what skills, and what abilities are, perhaps we would have to now go to find out, where do we gain knowledge? Whose responsibility is it to ensure that, well, people acquire the skills? And who is it that ensures that, well, yes, people or individual students become able? Then we will now go to look at employable skills. Then in looking at employable skills also would just oppose it on whose responsibility is it to ensure employable skills of students. Because, well, maybe we are not placing the issues rightly and where it's supposed to be. But, well, once we have these discussions at the end of the day, that collaborative effort that will ensure that, well, all the stakeholders play their role evenly, indeed, will be there. Then I will draw up some conclusions on some of the employable skills and how we think that, well, the university indeed is playing its role, because I'm coming from academia, and what role should industry also be playing, and what role should society also be playing. So that is how I intend to structure my presentation. First and foremost, it is said that, well, your aptitude, your intellect will take you as far as to an institute, that is the organization. But that which will take you to the altitude is your attitude. So whereas aptitude, your intellect, takes you to an institute, that which takes you to the altitude is your attitude. It tells me that, well, attitude is key, and I'm laying some capstones. Attitude is key for growth of organizations and for growth of individuals when they get into an organization. However, to get into the organization, normally that is why they conduct aptitude tests and not necessarily attitude tests. So they are looking at your aptitude. So we will get in there and would relate this. This is a capstone that I've laid. But then in moving on, first and foremost, what is knowledge? Well, reading around, and as an expert in organizational development and an organizational psychologist, I will say that, well, I mean, reading around, my understanding is that knowledge is much more gaining understanding or information or being aware of a subject area, having enormous information of a subject matter, or gaining knowledge within a particular area, particularly maybe in talking about the theoretical basis, the principles in gaining knowledge. Basically, that is what it is. Being aware, gaining understanding and information of principles in a particular subject matter or in a particular field or area. Then, reading around, I try also to look at what is skill. And it is said that, well, skills likely have to do with the application of the knowledge that you have gained, the application of the knowledge. Being able to apply the knowledge that you have gained in a particular situation is you exhibiting that particular skill. And it is believed that, well, yes, through the combination of knowledge and the skill, together with the attitude of the individual, that is what leads to competency. So you have the knowledge, you've been given an opportunity wherever to apply the knowledge. You have the right attitude. That is what makes a competent individual. Today, many organizations are looking out for competencies in individuals. The university, of which I'm a part, we train for knowledge. We train for knowledge in most of the subject areas. So when students come through, we try as much as possible to give them, if it is, let's say in human resource that you are reading. Yes, you've been given a lot of information. You've been made aware. You've been made to understand issues of human relations in organization. You've been made to understand issues of human behavior in organization. You've been made to understand principles of management. You've been made to understand elements of accounting, etc., etc. All of these is elements of marketing. You've been made to understand all of these bits. We try as much as possible in trying to get students to understand. And in so doing also, through the various activities that takes place in the classroom, i.e. through assignment, group presentation, even through the time that lectures are scheduled, we teaching students through the timeline that we give them for submitting assignment. We're teaching them certain basic things, skills that they need to acquire in terms of time management, in terms of teamwork, because when you give group assignment, you're supposed to work as a team. In terms of your presentation skills, because when we give assignment and you are supposed to present, we teach them that is communication skills there. In terms of even examination, the way you organize your script and so forth, it is part of, and we're giving feedback to students. When they write interim assessment, we grade them and we give back all of these bits. These are all part of the knowledge acquisition process, which translates some of them to the employable skills that we'll be talking about as we move on. And these things happen within the university environment. But what is so important is that at the end of the day, because various organizations tend to have their objectives, their goals, and what they want to achieve at the end of the day, it is imperative that at the end of the day, the organization offer the platform, offer the opportunity to students to be able to exhibit that knowledge that they have acquired. The question we ask, is that the case? Is that the case? The students, in order for us to determine whether the students indeed has gained knowledge, for us as people in academia, we examine the students to go through what has been taught and so forth and so on. Yes, people will say that, they regurgitate whatever is given them and then they score their A. But then whether it is regurgitation of whatever they've been taught, that in itself would have to be demonstrated when an opportunity has been given to the student within the work environment and is unable to apply that knowledge. It is important to understand that the students who are given opportunity in industry to bring that knowledge that have been acquired to bear become experienced, and in so doing, enhance their competency. So, if you go to UMAT, you reckon that students who are reading mining are attached to the various mining institutions and they go for practicum, they go for practical attachment where they are applying the knowledge that they've acquired in there. You go to the medical school, yes, students get into the wards together with experienced people to apply the knowledge that they've gained in the classroom. And it is interesting to even understand that even among medical practitioners, after having gone through the 7 years of education, having acquired knowledge to the extent that some of them are so practical, they have to also do 2 years of housemanship to hone it. Yet, what is expected of today's graduates that he will come out fully baked. Yet, when students apply for internship in organization where their skills will be honed, where their knowledge they have acquired could be put to test and to practice. That is not granted by industry. Academia continues to receive the bashing of not producing students with employable skills. Now, what do we mean by employable skills? When we talk about employable skills, already we've established what skills are. Skills are basically application of the knowledge acquired. So now when we talk about employable skills, what is it that we're talking about? Well, reading around, you reckon that, well, yes, various scholars and various organizations outline various employable skills, including communication skills, including teamwork, including being resilient and adaptive, including the fact that, well, the individual has that sense of initiative, the individual having problem-solving skills, etc., etc. You will look at various literature that talks about the 7 tips, the 7 what have you, the 10. People give 8, people give 99, a whole lot of skills. That is good enough. But now let's relate it. What is the place of academia in all of these things? And as academia played its part, and that is why I'm coming to in employable skills, and why they blame all the time on academia. The first is that the issue of communication skills. Communication, you are talking about verbal and non-verbal skills. How do we in academia help in getting the students to acquire their knowledge and honing that particular skill? One, in the giving of assignments, the students demonstrating their understanding and organizing their work in a systematic manner, demonstrate their communication. Again, we asking students to do presentation in itself helps in honing their communication skills as well. And these are things that happen. I dare say that, well, perhaps because of the large numbers that, well, we tend to have in our institutions, these are not things that are often done in a manner that, well, people in academia would want to do. Because, well, if you look at the fact that, well, you get into one class and you have 2,000 students, 1,000 students in there, how are you able to get everybody to? So, well, sometimes some of these things slip through the cracks. That is admittable. In talking about teamwork, yes, we give group assignments, and it is expected that, well, people work in groups. Today, you come into academia and most of the bits given to students are case studies. The happenings around, we throw it out to students for them to, and that in itself is going to demonstrate their innovative skills, how to apply their knowledge that they've gained into solving practical cases. That is given out to students out today. As part of academia helping students to acquire these things. Students work as teams and so on and so on. They acquire resilience. How do we help in? Helping them to become resilient in their management of time, etc. Lectures are scheduled at 7:30. Assignments are given and they are supposed to submit it within certain period of time. And they are supposed to be in class. That in itself gets students and combining other activities on campus. Some of them student leaders, some of them society leaders. All of these things help in getting them to be adaptive to the environment in there. You're talking about leadership skills. The university, through the dean of students of the various universities and tertiary institutions, allow students to elect their own leaders who determine what to be done at what time, with little or no guidance. So, among them emerge, and when you get into the body politic today, you reckon that, well, most of the leaders that we have there, in one way or the other, emanated from our universities as student leaders. The university provides all of these platforms for people to become leaders in there. So, well, I don't think that, well, the university is doing bad at all. The challenge that has been is the fact that, well, it is a truism that one of the reasons why many would want to enter into universities and tertiary institutions it's for a fact that they would want to get good jobs at the end of the day. Good jobs. You are looking at a country where annually we are producing, I wouldn't use the word churning, because when we talk about churning, it's more like mass production. I wouldn't fall into that trap. I would use the word in a country where on an annual basis we are producing, we are coming out with over 109,874. I mean, talking about close to 120,000 graduates every year. Close to 100, and even no more. Every year, in an environment where you reckon that, well, yes, only about a quarter of them get absorbed after national service. That in itself, indeed, creates some competition in the environment, for which reason compels organization to use such competitive strategies in getting a few. Because, well, it is just, I mean, you're talking about 120, and at the end of the day, just about a quarter of them, which is somewhere around 30,000, if even less, get employed. Then it becomes a situation. So, well, basic demand and supply tells you that when supply exceeds demand, it is much more the buyer's market. So now they determine the competencies that they are looking out for. And they believe that, well, the university should be able to produce that. But I can imagine that, well, in an environment where the economy is so expansive enough to accommodate all of these graduates, because the basic or the foundational, because when we talk about employable skills, what we are talking about is much more. It is even referred to in some domains to be the foundational skills, foundational or job readiness skills, which includes the student being or the individual being much more analytical, the individual being able to communicate, which we have outlined already. And we believe largely so that, well, before a student graduates from the university, some of these bits are quite basic that we seek to hone in our students. However, that platform which would be given the student, because, well, how do we acquire some of these bits? It is on-the-job training. On-the-job training, where the individual gets into that environment with his knowledge that has been acquired, with the organization providing that platform, that skills that's needed in the individual to transform that individual to become fully baked for that entity called the organization, becomes the responsibility of the organization. And because the student has that foundational skills so gained from that institution, it is a speedier process. It is a speedier process. And indeed, with the experience over a period of time, that particular individual becomes a competent individual. And that is where the organization gains some value. Today's organization is not anywhere prepared to train. And so they expect that, well, students will come out of the university already baked, which is practically impossible. I related to the medical school, where people go through medical training, but at the end of the day, they even have to go through housemanship for 2 years. All together before they come out as medical officers. Meanwhile, the medical training itself involves they're working in the wards with, and that is it. Yet, in our case, students come to the university for 4 years and you want them to be fully baked, to be able to. Yes, the university, we organize a number of field trips for students, which is key. But today's organization is not ready to invest in the development of talents, invest in the development, in honing the skills of the individuals to get them to the level where they become competent. And so they expect, and it is all because the supply of graduates far exceeds the demand. And that is the challenge. And we need to be discussing these issues dispassionately and see how well we can collaborate. How well we can collaborate. I tell you what, the fact that, well, a student scores a first class in accounting does not mean that that student should come out to be an accountant. No. The fact that a student is a chartered accountant does not mean that he should practice accountancy. No. The fact that a student scored a first class in marketing and is a chartered marketer doesn't mean he should practice marketing. No. That is where the organization plays a role in profiling the individual's personality to establish a fit between the personality, because, well, all it tells you is that the person is intelligent. That is what it tells you. The organization has a role to play to ensure what we call person-job fit. I dare say this, in most organizations in Ghana, we are very good when it comes to recruitment. But when it comes to selection, we have a problem. And when it comes to placement, we are good when it comes to recruitment and selection. But when it comes to placement, we have a problem. And these are some of the things that we need to begin to discuss. The role of organization in ensuring equilibrium, a perfect balance between the knowledge acquired and the skills to be obtained to allow the individual to be competent. I dare say, for a very long time, this issue of industry, academia has been toyed with. And that one, we have not laid the axe at the roots. We only laid the axe at the fruit. We've been dealing with the fruit. We have not dealt with the roots. It is important to deal with the root cause, because insofar as the roots remain, it will fruit again. What is the root cause? The root cause is the fact that, well, the economy is not expansive enough to accommodate the numerous graduates that come out. So at the end of the day, it compels employers to be restricted into looking at certain things and not ready to offer the practical training as needed to get people, the individuals, to hone those skills to become competent. It is important that as an economy, we should be looking at research and development that adds value to our products that we export in their raw state. In that process, we are able to indeed accommodate more of these graduates, because in the value chain, we create a lot more jobs where we are able to, because one, in the universities, absolutely, we train students to become researchers. To what use do we put these researchers? Most of them lie in waste. And it is time that we consider adding value to our natural resources and in the value chain, creating more jobs. You go to Malaysia, you go to Singapore, it is education. And they have been very, very consistent at that. In adding value to the oil palm, in the value chain, they create more avenues where people are ready to use their knowledge. I dare say that, well, it is not a single problem for academia. It is a collective issue. All stakeholders need to be on board. The government, key. Captains of industries, key. And academia. Academia will play a part in the acquisition of knowledge, in giving understanding, creating awareness through the way we structure our course, creating those foundational skills as in time management, because you need to meet the timeline in submitting your assignment, in creating the basic skills of communication, in creating the basic skills of teamwork, in creating that basic skills of leadership, in creating that basic skills of resilience and adaptability. Above all, we would expect that industry would also offer that platform, that opportunity for students to apply their knowledge, to be able to exhibit that potential that they have. Industry ought to offer that opportunity. Take them and allow them to use their knowledge.
Recording stopped.
Training that affords them that opportunity to use their knowledge. And through their experience, they become so competent. However, the government, the major stakeholder, need to create an expansive economy that will, in any case, take on the numerous graduates that we are producing by adding value to the products that we churn out in their raw states. And in so doing, we create a lot of avenues in the area of employment where we will be prepared to offer our students the needed platform to exhibit the knowledge that we have so acquired at the university. So in conclusion, and in drawing down the curtains on the subject matter on how academia can help in inculcating the employable skills in the students, I say that, it is a stakeholder responsibility. We in academia, we have been indeed flunked for a very long time. Let us understand that, it is a tripartite relationship between academia, industry, and government. It is very important that we understand that. Today, you get into many institutions. At the University of Ghana Business School, you come there, and we have a mentoring and student support service unit, mentoring. Because we believe that, yes, where we help students in preparing their CVs, help students in going through interview. We organize mock interviews for them. We help students in trying to secure internship and placement as well, and so forth and so on. All of these things are, but I have coordinated that unit. I established that unit, and I coordinate that unit. I can tell you the difficulty we go through in getting internship, in getting placement for our students. It's not been so easy. We should understand that the tripartite, academia, industry, and government are all needed to make good use of the teeming graduates that are being produced from the various universities. For an unengaged intellectual is much more dangerous than an illiterate. Let's get it. An unengaged, educated person is very dangerous than an illiterate. Let's think about this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Prof. I've already failed. Thank you so very much for your insightful presentation. Yeah, I can already see a hand up, but I can see a hand up. What is that, George? Okay, George. Before we will do some few discussions. Let me put my discussion before you come in. I beg you.
Sorry, Doc. I think I was just clapping. It was just.
Oh, okay. You are applauding. Okay, that's good. Thank you, Prof.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. So I will open up for members to have some few discussion, maybe some 5 minutes to 7 minutes before the next presenter will come. So, but I want to also now ask this for on board. I picked some few points from your presentation, but let me ask you this. Do you think that the students we have these days have enough room, enough time to do the critical thinking, to do the analysis that is required, so that by the time they get to the industry, even though they might not have all the knowledge of the nitty-gritties of the industry, but because of their ability, their thinking ability, they can easily be able to be adopted into the industry? That is my question number one. Do you think that our students these days have those capabilities? Number two, if you remember, those of us who were in school in the 1990s, Industries were even coming to the institutions to look for students to go and work, if you remember. But you made a point that because now we are producing more than what the industries can take, that is why the industries are now trying to strengthen their requirements. Don't you think that it is about time that academia also now begin to reposition themselves to meet the industry requirements? Because those days where industries were rather coming to the university to come and look for students to go and work for them, those days are past and gone. Because apparently there were very few graduates who were graduating every year. Now we are graduating more, and like you said, there is no equilibrium. We are supplying more than what the demand can take. Don't you think that academia also needs to now reposition itself to meet what the industries want? That is my question, Prof. Let's discuss that.
Well, I will answer this. I'll answer the latter and come to the former. Okay. I guess the case is that, well, you see, once the environment cannot take on what is being produced, it is not the case that, well, the university is not meeting the requirements of industry. No. We're producing very good students, we know. And today, it is said, and that's why you would see today that some of the motivational speakers will tell you that your network determines your net worth. So now, depending on who you know and how you are able to network and so forth and so on, it determines. So it tells you that it is not a matter of the fact that the universities are not producing very good graduates. No, it is not. It is not a matter of that. It is more the case that what the environment.
Recording in progress.
Yes, the environment is not expansive enough to accommodate. Yes, I can imagine that, well, even in our gradings, you realize that it is a bell shape. So you have some students who are extremely good, there are majority of them in the middle, and there are some students who would fall through. We agree to that fact, that bell shape, we agree to that fact. But the fact still remains that, well, the economy is not expanding as rapidly as required to absorb the teeming graduates who come out. And that is a problem. So, well, it is not as if the universities are applying innovative ways, including presentation skills, giving them cases, practical cases, where students have to go to town to acquire knowledge and to do all of these things, all honing their creative and innovative skills. We're doing all of these things now in the universities. Who says we are not doing it? We're doing it. And students will tell you, they tell you that they are burdened. Come to University of Ghana Business School and ask the student, they will tell you they are being burdened with one practical assignment or the other. Every lecture goes in there and there's a case that what they need to work. They are having sleepless nights and they need to come back to class to work it, all in the bid to hone their adaptive skills. So all of these things are being done. It is simply the case that the global economy is not expansive, particularly in Ghana. It is not expanding enough to accommodate it. So that is the issue when it comes there. The second bit that you asked, the first question you asked, and if you can help me recollect that particular question.
Yes. I was trying to ask whether you think that the student we have these days has enough time to do the critical thinking that is expected of every university student to have, so that when they go to the industry, even though they might not have the industry requirement, but because of the knowledge that they have, they can easily adapt. Do you think that we have?
I think so. As well, you see, sometimes, and it's so amazing, because for some of us who have had the opportunity of schooling out there, we tend to say that, well, yes, I mean, if you've not been there, that is where you think that, well, people out there are better than you. They tend to be overly rated. In that environment, all the facilities are available. And by a click of a button, you get all the literature you need. If you don't even have it, you are able to get it from anywhere. But what you find out is that, well, most of the students who are indeed schooling are also working. They have part-time jobs. They get on the job. So that in itself helps in honing. So when they get into the work environment, they are able to apply some. So you have a student who is working as a customer service person. A student who is working in that environment, in that working environment, through observation, through practice, he's able to hone such skills, even whilst in school. So it is not the case that what our students do not. No. We went there and to say we beat them to the game. Most Ghanaian scholars have distinguished themselves out there, and we're very much aware of it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Prof. I can see Dr. Violet Makuku. The hand is up. Doc, can you add up?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, I just want to once again congratulate the University of Energy and Natural Resources for this dialogue platform. And quickly to your two questions too, I also have another dimension. I think that is the beauty of having an open discussion, because it's enriching from different dimensions. So, first of all, if we are to just look at our conference topic, it's on employable skills. But for the past, I can't remember how many years, I'm saying there's need to change the mindset of the students, because our grandmothers used to say, when I grow up, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a medical doctor. And in 2021, if we are still pushing the agenda of employable skills without moving it together with the employment creation, I get worried. But what I'm happy about is yesterday, although it was not captured in the title of this event, it came out clearly. But imagine if we had captured it also in the title of the event to say employability and employment creation skills. How would that sound? So that's what we need to do. The agenda should be dual. Some will go for employment, but we want more to create employment. Some are able, but it's because we need to psych their mindsets so that they can do that. In terms of the economy not expanding, yes, it can be expanded by the government alone this time around, because we need to push that agenda of students also creating employment, and that's very important. Then I just want to quickly move on to the other one on skills gap. And I'm happy Abigail is asking here, how do we know we are producing very good graduates? Are we evaluating the success and how we are doing it? She put it there, but already I was saying skills gap. Are we doing skills gap analysis? I think yesterday I just gave a quick example of South Africa, that they check the skills that are needed and check where there's overproduction of graduates. We can't deny that as higher and tertiary education, that as long as we are not doing the necessary researches to do with the real issues on the ground, the real existing situation on the ground, we won't be able to fully address the issues. Then what was said about the students, you said, do you think the students today have enough time to do critical thinking that they can manage, whether on their own or in industry? Yes, it depends with the way they are taught. If you are spoon feeding them, how can they get those critical thinking skills? And also, if you are teaching today update of banks, for example, every month or two, you hear interruptions, we are updating the system. And you are using a system which is three steps back from the current system which is being used in the banks. By the time they graduate, there will be a sixth one. So do you think these students will be fit for purpose? No, you need to teach them with something at least closest to what they are going to use. But people don't do that. Institutions sometimes also move slowly to catch up with what is now in the industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you so very much. I can see George hands up. George, you want to add up? George.
Yes, I wanted just to make just a few comments. I believe that after listening to Prof, we can all see that yes, key drivers of this issue of graduates not being employed, maybe theoretically, I would say, are just at the doorstep of more graduate, less skills, and then few industries per se. And I think you put it, the supply, which is over demand. Yes, I understand. And then going deep into it, when you are in the university system or any of the systems training people at this level, then you can see that the challenges we face now are complex. And when I say complex, it is not as if we do not know them, but how we are able to respond to the issues affecting both industry and university industry linkages is where we have this. I know that the new graduates, and when I say new graduate, I mean graduate of this era. If we look at them, I can also say that with the little I have read about and what I have seen, industry to some extent normally will put it at the doorstep of the universities or educational institutions that they are not producing the people they want. But if you look at where the higher education institutions are these days, I can see that we are probably training also people who the industry is not able to contain because of industry not evolving to meet the kind of people we are also training. Things have changed. And if you look at the rapid nature of changes in both industry and what we are going to the fourth industrial revolution and all that, it cannot just be the old ways of doing things. We have graduates these days who have acquired a lot when it comes to technology. They are able to do so much. And I'm sad to find or happy at the same time, to find most of the young guys who are going into tech startups now saying that, look, what they want to do and what they have on offer, probably they cannot have any sort of industry players coming on board. So they try to start on their own. This is good because, yes, at the end of the day, we have graduates who are able to identify opportunities out there and start on their own. But to some extent, I'm worried because industry keeps on, I would say most of the time, yes, as far back as I know, I'm not saying this is a fact, but I know that mostly the issue is universities are not training the people we need. But I don't think that universities are supposed to train people industry need as it is put simply. Because, as Prof said, if you look at the issue of knowledge, skills, and abilities, they are there. The university does a certain part of it. And so what I want to say is that going forward, we will need this kind of looking at the three areas. This issue of industry, university, or tertiary education institutions, looking at the linkage, re-evaluating these linkages we talk about. What exactly is the linkage? And then we try to also look at the issue of research, because if you look at where things are going now, we can no longer dwell on this issue of, university industry relationship are weak. They are not there, all of that. Graduate employability research, we need to go to that. And then probably that will inform us that industry is also not evolving at the pace at which universities are going. And our universities may not be doing badly at all, but the challenge is that industry is not evolving to meet the kind of skills or the kind of things the graduates who are coming out could be. And I think generally capacity building is important for all the stakeholders in this discussion, or both industry, universities, and even graduates. We need to have these three things in my view, so that at the end of the day, we can enhance this whole graduate employability discussion and take it further from trying to apportion blame who is not doing what and who is doing what is not expected. I think we have to move beyond that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, George. Thank you very much. I can't see any hand again, but if I can get what Dr. Barrett Makuku and then our Professor Aponsatewia are all coming from. Prof, if I understand you well, you are saying that the university is doing its part. We are preparing the students properly for industry. The issue we have is that the economy is not expanding, and therefore we are producing more than what the industry can take. Now, Dr. Barrett Makuku also saying that, look, yes, the economy cannot expand at the rate at which we are churning out or we are producing students to the industry. Now, it is not only the responsibility of the government to give us the industry. Students themselves can also create their own employment. So these two things can be married. So if I get you right, that is where we are now. And I think that's a good point. In as much as the university is doing 8 bits, students themselves also have to now begin to sit and create their own employment and even begin to employ people. Other than always thinking that we have to go and join the queue to go and then find job from the already established institutions by government. So that is where we are. I can see a hand. Oh, Doc, I wanted to continue. Okay, so Doc, I'm just giving you 1 minute, please. Doc Makuku, I will just give you 1 minute. 1 minute.
Yes, very quickly. I wanted to say the research is very key so that we deal with facts and not perceptions. But there are some obvious things which some of us, we work at continental level. When we go into institutions in terms of quality assurance and we do institutional evaluations, we see some of these things on the ground in existence. So this is not hearsay. Some things are not right and they are obviously not right and they need to be corrected. Thank you.
Thank you. Prof.
Yep.
I hope you will stay with us because you have given us enough. You have to stay with us. Don't go. I beg you. I know you have a busy schedule, but don't go. I beg you.
I guess my schedule, the time they gave me, it's unfortunate. I scheduled a meeting and I need to, but I'm still for a brief moment. But
okay.
if I may make a brief comment.
Yes, that you are allowed to do that.
I guess that it's been an interesting discussion, and the point we need to make is that yes, we should also be looking at a situation where indeed, the students are also creating jobs and so forth and so on. But how do you create job? It is much more the enabling environment being created for students to be able to, because the number of students who have innovative ideas and indeed having funding, having the enabling environment for them to thrive, it is not there. So in the issue of job creation itself, it has to do with the enabling environment, and that is key. We have students who leave the shores of Ghana and out there, they are heading big institutions just after graduation. And it is key because that environment indeed provides them that opportunity to apply their knowledge and they see it. And that is why we talk the way we talk. Quite recently, a graduate from the University of Ghana who read engineering went out there and is heading one of the big agencies out there, global agencies, just a first degree. And it is clear that it gives us hope that, we're doing something right. We are not saying that, everything is perfect. That is why I indicated the bell shape. Obviously, yes, some people really fall through the cracks, but the majority of them fall in the middle. There are a few sharp ones over there as well. But then all in all, I think that, if we can forge partnership together, I like the idea of the research. It's very, very important. Organizations today are not researching. And even those who have been employed in organization, if you all bear me out, they are not even being trained because they are thinking that, if they train them, somebody will come and poach. So individuals are now self-developing, self-financing and developing themselves in their organization today. And that has become the trend now in today's organization. It is important, and that is why we should not rule out the issue of that demand and supply we are talking about. Because organizations know that we can easily replace you if you decide to go. So we can afford not to train you. And it is there. It is happening today in today's organization. Let us be very mindful of this, but I think that that collaborative effort is needed from academia, from industry, and from government. And in so doing, we can move on with getting students with the right knowledge at the right place at the right time to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Don't go. Please stay with us. I beg. I know you have meetings, but stay with us. I can see Dr. Valen Makuku have written. I agree, Prof, that an enabling environment is very key. I agree. Thank you very much. George, your hand is still up. Can you lower your hand and you will still want to say something? Because we need to go to our second speaker, please. George. George, can you lower your hand? George. Okay. Okay, I want your hand to be down. George, your hand is still up. Okay, thank you very much. Prof. Angela Owusu and Son, are you around?
Yes, I am. I'm here, please.
Prof, you are here?
Yes, I am.
Good morning, Prof.
Good morning, sir.
How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Thank you very much. Prof, you are welcome.
Thank you.
We are ready for you, Prof.
All right. If I may, can I please share my screen? I'm going to try and do that now. And if I can't, it's all right. I'll just kind of walk through the slides.
You can, Prof. You can share your screen, please. You can share your screen.
Okay. I'm being told here that the host has disabled.
Please, you are giving access.
I'm sorry.
You are giving access. Kindly go on. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Let me try. Let me try again. Thank you. Thank you. I can see that it is working now. Right. Let's see if I can get this through. Right. So good morning once again. My name is Professor Angela Owusu, and if you can please, thank you. So the task I was given was to discuss how exchange and industry and possibly international interactions take part in education and employability. Please forgive me, I'm in a place that's a little bit loud. But what I'd like to share is that with all intents and purposes, the World Economic Forum has shared how it is very difficult, or it is vital for industry and government and universities, academia, how it is so important for the three. I think my colleague prior to me indicated that as well, and how it's important to be very intentional to make that happen. And so I'm about to share is an example of what Ashasi has done with that in mind. But I'd like to premise it on the fact up until the 1990s, the general thinking was that in Africa, the emphasis should be solely and mainly on the primary and secondary, and that should be sufficient. And I humbly beg to differ and to share that coming to the point where we are, at the rate of growth in our current global as well as continental situation, what Africa really does need, of course, we will need primary and secondary, but even more so, we would need more doctorates, more masters to help us to leapfrog more than anything else. And so Ashasi, which is an undergraduate program, with that as a backing or as a excuse me, as its basis, is launching into a graduate program for the first time this academic year. And we also think that one of the things we should always look at is which programs will bring us the biggest bang for our buck, which programs will give us the most return for our investment. And if you look at the fact that we have so much raw material and it is sent abroad and then brought back to us to purchase, and when it is sent abroad, because it's in this raw state, we all know it's at its lowest cost. And when it comes back, because a little bit of automation and production has happened to that raw material, it comes back to us slightly higher. So what if we took charge of the production and the automation of our raw materials, which are right here with us, and then work on the exporting, and in doing so, create jobs as well for our large and growing youth. So the program I'm about to discuss with you or to share with you is a case study. We are experimenting ourselves, and we would love to hear your feedback as to what we think we're doing and what we should be doing. So what Ashasi did, because it has very little knowledge of how graduate programs work, we identified a university that has the same mission as we do. And that was, let me see if I can move this. Maybe not. Let's see. Yes, so we identified a university that has a similar mission to ours. Their mission at ETH in Zurich